Hello, welcome to SMCC's Wish Workshop on test taking skills. So, before a test, it's important to predict your test questions. But how do you do that? Here are some tools you can use. Study guides from instructors will often provide the important points that you should study before an exam. Pay attention to clues in class. What are those clues in class? Oftentimes an instructor will say, "This is important," or they may repeat a certain point, or certainly anything that they write on the board is usually important. Look at your past quizzes, homework, and notes. See the topics that you've covered. See the ones that you didn't do well on or that you may have missed some information. And these are areas that you would need to study. You can also refer to your textbook for sample questions. Where are those located? Typically, at the end of each chapter in many textbooks, you will see some practice questions. Sometimes there's practice tests, or just questions relating to the content from that specific chapter. This is a great place to do some test preparation. So plan for your test. But how do I start to plan? In your planner, or whatever method you use for scheduling, commit to many study sessions over a number of days. So rather than studying the night before an exam, you want to do it over multiple days. So I suggest that you carve out a certain time each day or over a few days and treat it just like a class, but instead use that for your study time. This will help put that information into your long-term memory, and it will make it easier for you to retrieve for your exam. Decide on what study tools you use. So, are you going to use your notes? Are there PowerPoints from class? Your textbook? Some folks like flashcards or study groups. So you have to think about what works best for you. Cut back on your social activity. This is a great time to trade that time and replace it with some physical activity to put that into your schedule. Physical activity will decrease your stress level and make your mind more productive. You could also consider joining a study group or connect with tutors. For more information about that, you can visit the Learning Commons at SMCC. Also, while you're planning, you want to avoid sleep and food deficits. Limit the caffeine in power drinks. Although they may keep you awake for longer, they're actually going to make you less productive. If you know you have an essay exam coming up, you can prepare outlines and study vocabulary. So think about the topics you've discussed in your class, make a list of key points, and think about that outline for what you might write during that exam. If you know you have an objective test where the answers are provided for you and you need to select the correct one, you could consider using flashcards. This is a great way to memorize material. Most importantly is practice, practice, practice. The day of the test. It's important that you come prepared. Make sure you have your pens, calculator, whatever materials you need. Make sure you've taken care of all of your external needs, such as returning any phone calls, turning off your cell phone, using the restroom. Make sure that you arrive early. You want to be able to find a comfortable place to sit with good lighting and minimal distractions. You also don't want to arrive late and increase your stress level. You can also avoid pre-test talk. What is pre-test talk? Have you ever arrived to class on the day of an exam and a classmate says, "Hey, did you study XYZ?" And you think, "No, I didn't study that." And suddenly your nerves go through the roof. So on a test day, avoid talking about the test with any of your classmates if that's something that tends to increase stress. Avoid all unnecessary possible stress triggers. That's the main goal. What if you start to get nervous during the test? Well, make sure that you read and listen to all directions. You can do a data dump on a scrap paper or on the back of a test. A data dump simply means when you are handed a test, you have studied and you have a lot of information in your head and you don't want to lose it. So on the back of your exam, before you begin, you can quickly write down any of those facts, formulas, whatever you've memorized, so that it will be there for retrieval later as you work on the test. This is not cheating, it's completely legal. Distribute time according to credit value. So if you see that you have some essay exams questions that are worth 20 points and some multiple choice questions that are only worth 2, spend more time on those essay questions because that's where you're going to get the most credit. When you encounter a question you don't know, skip it. Don't waste time. Use all of the allotted time. So although folks get nervous, it's important to spend as much of that class time as you can taking that test. So if you finish and you still have time left, go back and review all your questions for accuracy. Go back and review skipped questions. However, don't change any answers unless you are 100% sure it was the wrong choice. If you have been studying, then most likely your first instinct was the correct answer. So objective tests are going to be those ones where the answers are provided, such as multiple choice, true, false, and matching. For your essay test, as you're working on that, you can retrieve your outline from the data dump on the back of your test. Make sure you reread your essay before you turn it in. Make it legible. Not all of us have great handwriting, but make sure that it's easy to read. If time runs out, you can make a list of the points you would have made, because at least it would show your instructor, I know this information, I just didn't have time to write it all down. So after the test, don't simply just look at the grade and throw it in your notebook. Look at your test, examine it. Identify which part of the test was easier or harder for you. When an exam is returned, check it for errors. Is there a pattern of careless errors? Did you seem to skip certain questions? Did you misread certain parts of questions? You need to look at your mistakes and try to find ways to remedy them for your next test. And determine which study strategies work best for you. So if you used flashcards and you did really great on the exam, then I would say do it again. For more information on this topic, visit smccme.libguides.com/tutoring. Click on Study Skills, or visit our in-person sessions in the Learning Commons on the South Portland campus. See the above link for a schedule. Thanks for watching. Your friends in the Learning Commons.